Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry, I've been away for a few weeks. So, originally, my plan, if you guys don't know, I was going to make a community post because I am moving near the end of the month. So, I was basically just going to make a community post, just letting people know, like, I'm going to be focusing on moving and packing and stuff like that. The other part of that is, by the grace of God, I've been able to get a bigger place, and I'll have my own space to record and stream and everything like that. So moving forward, the channel's going to be a little different. So I just wanted to take the time to you know be able to focus on that and get that all up and going and packing and all that. Moving is pretty stressful and everything. So, but some things have been happening recently in the world of Xbox, and I just decided I wanted to hop on and just talk to you guys about it and my thoughts about it. So if you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, and let's get right into it. So basically, a bombshell that dropped yesterday was that Xbox was going to be, we're going to be going through a few tweets that I bookmarked. So Microsoft is going to be closing, or actually they did close already, like that was just the email that went out that they closed Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, I think it was Roundhouse Studios, and then another studio. So they closed 4 studios. An email, we don't have to go through the whole thing, but basically Matt Booty sent the email out saying that, to the Bethesda and ZeniMax teams, that they're going to be prioritizing quote unquote high impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds which you have nurtured over many decades. So the studios that's going to close, Arcane Austin closing, after Redfall. They're deciding they're not going to do the whatever update or DLC that the people that paid for is going through, but they said they're going to make good offers to the players who already purchased that, whatever that means. Maybe they give them a little stipend or $20 or something. Alpha Dog Studios is that made Mighty Doom. They're not going to have any more like purchases or in-game transactions and things like that, and they're going to be getting dissolved. Tango, unfortunately, who gave us probably Microsoft's best new IP in a bunch of years, was a really bright spot for them at the top of last year, 2023. Won some game awards, won some other awards. Unfortunately, it was one of my favorite games, but unfortunately, Tango Gameworks, the only Japanese studio for Microsoft, is getting closed as well. And then Roundhouse Games, I believe it's actually Roundhouse Studio, so he wrote the wrong name there, but they're going to be dissolving into ZeniMax Online Studio, so helping with games like Elder Scrolls Online and things like that. So this caused a, quite the stir on Twitter yesterday, especially for Tango Gameworks, because, well, like I said before, so Xbox has been saying, they want to increase their footprint in Japan, and this was their actual only Japanese studio. We know Sony closed their Japanese studio as well, but this was Microsoft's only studio in Japan. Hi-Fi Rush, like I said, critically acclaimed. Didn't sell that well from what we know. Of course, we don't have all the sales data. It just got announced that it's coming to PS5. People are expecting it to come to Switch 2, and, this unfortunate. And we see Jez Corden here from Windows Central. He quote tweeted a tweet he sent out, and I remember this tweet when it happened back in April 21st. So originally, Jeff Grubb said that, and if you guys don't know Jeff Grubbs, he's a online personality. He also has some inside information on things. He said that apparently they weren't happy with the performance of Hi-Fi Rush internally, and then Aaron Greenberg said that, hey, this was actually a breakout hit, and Jez is saying, okay, what determines the success for Xbox games these days? With Game Pass and all these deals going on, subscription model, downloads, all that. Like, how do you determine what is successful outside of regular sales? Or even if you have sales, it's like, what is that? Like, what determines that? Is it 1 million depending on the game? Is it the budget? Is it 5 million copies? Like, what is that? So Aaron Greenberg said, and it says right here, hey, it was a breakout hit for us and our players and all key measurements and expectations. So we couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release. So that was the other thing. So the game was only $30, but it was a shadow drop, which people were excited about because it was a new IP no one expected, and it was a shadow drop, injecting some life into the Xbox brand. But when you have a shadow drop and it's an Xbox exclusive and it's only $30, it's kind of like, and it's a new IP. It's like, how much money are you going to make, especially with it being day one in Game Pass, right? So Jez was going back to this tweet and he's saying like, hey, I asked about this directly, last year. And he said, last year I was angry that Microsoft doesn't offer a clear picture as to what determines success to a game in the Game Pass era. And that's what a lot of people have been saying. Like, if Game Pass is the way forward and that's the model, okay, fine. But how do you determine a game's success? From first party or third party, we know you're paying all this money out. I think they paid like almost $15 million to have Devil May Cry 5 in here just to boost, Game Pass subscribers, which is fine. But we're seeing kind of unfortunately that maybe this isn't, outside of like Starfield or like the next Elder Scrolls or something like that. Like, how do we know these studios are going to be able to survive? Like, it's kind of scary at this point. And even worse, you see this picture from 2023, Phil and some of the other team, they flew out to visit Tango just not that long ago, 6 months ago, 7 months ago. It's just like, it's really sad, man. You see this post from Tango. Hey, it was announced that Tango Gameworks is going to close. Thank you to everybody who explored our worlds. And, Tango had some other very good experimental games. Ghostwire Tokyo, I thought was pretty good. It wasn't necessarily my favorite game, but like, it was definitely unique. A lot of people that played it liked it. It was a PS5 exclusive at first. They had the Evil Within 2. I'm not really a horror game guy, but a lot of people that played it said, they liked it. You have this guy, Risk It. He's saying, hey, he heard some news coming out of Bethesda. I said, Alpha Dog. So what happened with them is they didn't pan out after the acquisition. So, it's whatever. After they acquired ABK, they have the mobile department, don't really need them. Roundhouse, they were only providing support anyway, so them going into ZeniMax Online is whatever. Now, Arcane, apparently they were giving a year to turn Redfall around, and I mean, obviously, Redfall is a big disaster, and it still isn't up to par. I still haven't tried Redfall. Now, I'll be completely honest, Redfall was my most anticipated game coming from Xbox last year. It just seemed very unique, and it just didn't pan out. And the crazy part is, I remember someone asking, I forget who, but sometime last year, like, hey, what's going to happen to Arcane, with Redfall is going on, or you're going to, and they're like, well, we're not going to close, there's no plans right now to do that, or something like that, something along those lines. And now to see that they eventually close them is kind of crazy. And then Tango's the main one, like I said earlier, but a lot of people don't know, is saying like, hey, the details are kind of sketchy. We know Shinji Mikami left before the Hi-Fi Rush even launched, I believe, or shortly after. So no one really knows what's going on with that. But I think that's going to come to bite them in the butt in the near future. And then after all this stuff that was happening yesterday, today we're getting even more news coming out. So Jason Schreier, he's saying, hey, so Xbox, apparently they're still not done cutting costs. What does that mean? Probably closing more studios. We've seen the same thing happen at Toys for Bob not that long ago. They allowed them to go independent, but realistically, if they didn't allow them to go independent, they probably would have closed them down too. It says Arcane, Austin, and Tango Gameworks, why were they closed? Bad timing, possibly. And then the Activision purchase has ramped up scrutiny on Xbox. And that's, there's a full article here, which, we don't have to really go through, but that's kind of obvious. A lot of people are saying this, you can't spend $70 billion plus the FTC case and all that time and everything, and just the overhead that these games, these World of Warcraft, Diablo, Call of Duty, it's a lot of money that you're absorbing into and a big thing to try and take on. So unfortunately, it's like, I'm not trying to be negative, but it's just we got to talk about the reality of it. And I was never like the gung ho like, yes, like this is going to be the greatest thing in the world, all these acquisitions. Like, I know the consequences of what that can come with. Same thing with Game Pass. As a consumer, for me, I like Game Pass because I don't have to pay full price for games, and there's a bunch of good games that are in there. I could get all the Microsoft first party games for free, essentially. There's third party games day one in there. There's third party games that I never played that they bring in. So, as a good value for it, like, yeah, I'm always going to champion Game Pass, but now we might be seeing the other side of that as well. And then it's funny here, you see Warner Brothers is planning a max price increase as well. They're doing cost cutting. Bro, this is like, everyone keeps saying like the recession, the subscription models, everybody fusing together, doing the fusion dance to try and get together and fix everything. Like, that's what's going on right now. It said Tango's in the process of pitching a Hi-Fi Rush sequel, which would have been great. It's just a lot. It's a lot going on, and it's not just Xbox. I'm not saying that to like cop out and say, oh, Xbox could do it, and there are people that are saying like, oh, well, so and so did layoffs. Like, yes, but the issue with Xbox right now is, let's be completely transparent with everything and objective. Everyone doing something isn't viewed the same. Should it be? Maybe. Is it? No, that's just the reality. When Sony lays off people, or Nintendo doesn't really do layoffs because there's different rules in Japan and all this kind of stuff, and they have structured their company to not need to do that, it's viewed differently because Xbox right now is suffering from brand identity. No one knows what it is. Bad leadership moves. Exec team that seems to be on the fence about where they want to go as far as their direction. Messaging that's really bad. The digital versus physical subscription model, like, there's just a lot going on with sales, console sales not being there. Like, there's a lot going on the Xbox front that a lot of other companies don't have to deal with. So their scrutiny looks a lot worse. You're buying up all these studios, but then you have no way to support them. And now that goes to my next point, and my final point is, now what can we expect to see for the future with these other games coming out? People keep bringing up Hellblade 2 is literally coming out in 2 weeks, and the marketing has not been there at all. And everyone's like, maybe they'll do, short marketing window up to the launch and all this kind of stuff. And Aaron Greenberg put out that he was, the marketing was going to kick up and they're going to do this type of installation and all that. It's like, bro, we're 2 weeks away. I haven't seen it anywhere. Like, it's kind of crazy. And like, we already know that game's been in development for 6 years or longer, the amount of money and high production value behind it. But it's like, it's digital only, exclusive, Game Pass, only $50, like, only going to be like 8 hours or so, maybe less. Like what happens to Ninja Theory? In a year, are we going to be saying the same thing when what happens with him? Like Obsidian, even, like, which has been kind of the, no pun intended, the rock for Xbox, kind of like how Insomniac has been for Sony. It's like, what if, Avowed isn't, well received, or maybe it is critically acclaimed but doesn't sell that much? Like, what if Grounded going to Switch and PlayStation doesn't pan out? Like, what happens with these other studios? Like, in my opinion, the way it sounds is that, and kind of Matt Booty's kind of saying is like, and he said it with Fortnite and all these other games, is the way Microsoft is looking at it, hey, we spent $70 billion. We want to focus on what works. We're going for the guaranteed hits. Like, we seen the Fallout show go great, so they're probably shifting gears to get that out as quickly as possible. Get another Fallout game until Fallout 5 is ready. Elder Scrolls 6, got to get that out. Call of Duty, we know is going to keep coming out, and that kind of seems like those are the games they're going to kind of focus on, just the big blockbuster games, which unfortunately it's like we keep seeing like AAA game development. It just costs too much nowadays. It's not feasible to keep going the way it's going with technology. Devs are getting fired left and right. You have no continuity between the employees. Like, it's just, man, it is rough. It is it is rough. And I don't know. I guess they want to do this before the showcase and everything, but I don't know. I guess the last part I'll say is like how I feel about it. I feel not as good about Xbox as a brand than I did even after the whole these four games going to the, going to other multi-platform thing. Like, the way it's looking right now, like, I'm not like everybody else where it's like, oh, sell my Xbox, because it's like I have no reason to do that. I already own it. I already bought into the ecosystem. Now, will I buy the next Xbox? Who knows? I may honestly just go into, I plan on building my own PC and all that anyway. So it's like, I might just do that, keep the PS5 and the Switch, and then maybe eventually if PCs or Sony decides to start being more day and date and all that with PC, maybe I don't have a PlayStation either. Like, who knows? I'm not entirely sure. But we'll just have to wait and see. Again, like, none of this is good. I don't know what Xbox is doing. And it sucks for all the people getting laid off. It sucks for these IP that people love that they'll never get to play again. And all this kind of stuff, man. It just sucks. So, we'll see. Unfortunately, this is kind of how Xbox keeps going. We get the high, then we get the low. You get the Hi-Fi Rush, then you get the Redfall. Then you get the ABK approval, and then you have, Starfield not doing as well. Then you got, the Xbox Showcase announced, and now you got these layoffs. Like, it's never consistent, and that's the problem. But it is what it is. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about everything. Again, I will be moving, so I probably won't be doing that many more videos. Maybe one more when Hellblade comes out, just to talk about the reviews and everything like that. But pretty much when I come back, I'm gonna do a dedicated video just to break down what the channel's gonna look like, streaming schedules, stuff like that. And then it's announcement season coming up, so we'll be doing Summer Games Fest, Xbox Showcase, Nintendo Direct, probably Sony State of Play, depending on when that is. So it's gonna be a lot to get into, for sure. But y'all let me know in the comment section below what you think about all this. Leave a like on this video, subscribe if you have not already, and I'll catch you on the next one.